with. 911 basically started automotive connectivity for OnStar, because if you had to locate a phone that was moving, then you could locate a car that was making an emergency call. So I spent the first third of my career working for a telecom, the second third working for automotive companies, and the last third really just working across the industry. And it was so kind to read off the list of things I wrote for her. I'll pay you later. Some of the clients that I've worked with are Intel, Alibaba, Verizon, AT&T, GM, Ford, Sharing Motors. So it's really rewarding in that no matter which industry I'm in, I really forget which one it is, because the same problems get solved in the same places. So let me get started, because we don't have a lot of time and I don't want to waste it talking about that, well, other stuff. But I want to share with you something that's really, really key, whether it's small companies or big companies. You know, they usually say, why do small companies fail? Entrepreneurs will tell you is that not the right time, not the right environment, not enough money. And honestly, that's not it. And I'll go back to Ford, just because of the news here. So back at Ford in 2006, if you remember, it was the worst time for auto companies, right? Car companies were going bankrupt in 2006. The Ford Motor Company was basically leveraging everything it had in order to stay afloat. So it wasn't really the right time. There wasn't any money, right? So not the right time, not the right money, then not the right environment. People were buying cars. And so it was really, really silly for a company to invest in something like Sync, right? No, it was just the opposite. It was brilliant, because that brought excitement back to Ford vehicles. And at the end of the day, I'll cut to the chase and sort of give you the punchline, is that cars that had Sync sold twice as fast as cars that didn't have Sync. It was that much of a mover. In a span of a year and a half, we actually began to outpace OnStar, because OnStar wasn't selling vehicles and Ford Sync was selling vehicles. And that whole idea was built on a concept. And the concept was really simple. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. We were going to take the phone out of your hand, but we were going to allow you to use it. And the reason we thought of that concept and wanted that concept is people love their stuff. People like their stuff. That's one of the problems in every business that you come across, but specifically in mobility. That's why you see things like CarPlay works. The apps are my stuff. That's my playlist sitting at Napster. That's my contact list sitting on my phone. That's my routes sitting on my favorites. That's why they use them. That's why they don't use their navigation systems. It's because the navigation system doesn't have my stuff. And even if I put my stuff in it, if a different person drives my car, that's not their stuff. That's my stuff. So if they say play favorites, they're going to get my favorites, not their favorites. So that's sort of part of that thing that is happening. So what I want to do is run through this quickly. I include this slide. I've spoken all over the world, and this slide is always with me. I'll wait till you get it. So the point is, prediction is hard if you're talking about the future. Because I can tell you the lotto numbers from last week, if you're interested. But that's the concept of that. So, by the way, I entertain myself as I'm up here, so I'll say things that sometimes you'll say, boy, that was stupid, but to me, I'll be laughing on the inside. So, our sharing economy, and someone's kind enough to mention Uber, right? Today you can share your car, you can share your home, you can even share your spouse if you'd like. For those of you, I'm turning you in. All right. So, but in essence, if you look across Facebook or Uber or BNB, right, sharing creates communities, and communities create markets. There would be no Facebook if nobody was on Facebook, right? Because I keep sending friend requests on MySpace, and nobody ever responds. So I'm even now thinking of canceling my AOL subscription, and I'm dropping out of the Harmony House. They're just not sending my albums anymore. But the point of it is that this is an opportunity, right? So let me tell you a really quick story. I won't take too much time. Back in 1950, there was a gentleman who was a used car salesman. He's driving down the road in California, and he sees this. And he thinks, wow, here's an opportunity. So he rents his car. Basically, as he's driving down the road, he starts picking up these people who are waiting for a ride. For 5 cents, he'll pick them up and drop them off on his way. And people started to jump on his cars. And then other people saw this and said, wow, this is really cool. And Jitney was born in 1915. The Jitney car, or the Jitney bus. Basically, people just driving down the road would see people, wave them down, jump on the car for a nickel, and they would drop you off. The reason it was called the Jitney bus, and nickel was a jitney. That's what they called the nickel. So it's called the Jitney bus. And the reason it worked is because it was convenient, right? Look at that sign right about there. That right there. It stops anywhere. Right? If you wanted to take the train, you had to go to the train station. If you wanted to take the bus, you had to go to the bus station. And when they drop you off is where they stop. This thing would pick you up where you were. So it's convenient, right? It was simple. And it was so nice, it was so convenient that they had 45,000 rides in Kansas and 150,000 rides in LA per day. Do you know how many rides Uber does per day today in California? Los Angeles? About 150,000 rides. This was in 1915. So the idea of Uber is about 100 years old. It's just that nobody started it before Uber did. This went out of business within 2 years because they were doing so well that governments regulated them out of business because the bus company said, hey, if you don't put them out of business, I'm closing shop. And that's how the Jitney car disappeared for about 95 years till Uber came back and brought it back in. But it's the same concept, right? Except Uber goes even a step further. You don't have to be outside when the car goes by. You can be sitting in your house and summon the car. So we go back to this thing right here. It's a matter of convenience. So when you build products, always remember that. It's a matter of convenience. We are just a lazy, lazy animal in this world, and we take the least path of resistance. The reason people use it, we drive around Detroit, right? We all see brand new cars. And what do we see? I will see a brand new Cadillac, Lincoln, I don't know, Infiniti, BMW. I know it has a Bluetooth in it, but there's somebody on their phone. I know that car has a Bluetooth, but somebody's on their phone. Do you know why? Because we're creatures of habit, and we go right to habit. But anyway, going back to the shared creates communities, community creates markets. Just a shot at poor Hilton. That's how fast B&B grew, basically. And here's the thing, the company B&B doesn't own any of those houses. But yet the Hilton owns all that building, right? So Hilton is really more in the real estate business. Airbnb is in the lodging business. All right, so really quick, this is very important, what I'm going to run through really quick, only so that you would know where you should put your money. Because one of the things we say about automotive is if you want to make a little bit of money, just start with a lot of money, and after you fail, you'll have a little bit of money. Okay? So, really quick, this rarely happens, unless you're Pokemon. And it's free. And this rarely happens, where just steady growth. You know, you can just count on it, you can just bank it. Typically it's this. It's this or this. Where the product starts out, starts to get traction, and before it gets to 15%, which by the way is the magic number. 15%. Once you reach 15% market penetration, a product takes off. But if it doesn't clear 15%, it typically dies. Connected vehicles never cleared 15%. OnStep, for example, that kind of business never cleared it. While a GM, it was mandatory, and it was 80% of their fleet, across the board, it was never at 15%. Navigation systems cleared. They got to 20. So they stayed, they lived, they made money. Just to give you an example. So here you go. This is really important. You'll use it later. I'm just trying to give you sort of, in the short time we have together, I just want to give you a tool that you can use. This is typically the adoption curve of technology, right? It's an S curve. It's sort of the V curve on the previous chart. I'll tell you in a minute why it's important. For example, mobile phones, right? It looks a lot like that red line right there. And that was the life of mobile phones. They came in, they dragged for a while. And remember, what did mobile phones get called before they were mobile phones? Anybody remember? Car phones. When the battery shrunk, we could take them out of the car. But we needed that damn battery to be plugged into the cigarette lighter with the antenna sitting on top. But once they got light enough, so we wanted phones that moved, we just didn't have any place to keep them powered. So the concept is an old concept. It's just that once they became relevant to fit in our pockets is when they took off. But here's the thing. Here they are, the cell phones, and the S-curve. And once they begin to mature, once they begin to sort of flatten out, something else comes along. A better version of that product comes along. And then it lives all over again. So the penetration goes from 30%, and it flies off. Now you got 5-year-olds with cell phones going, hey, I'd text you if I could spell. Right? But sometimes things come along that kill other things, right? So this is Kodak and taking film. This is digital cameras. Do you know who invented the digital camera? Kodak. But they gave it away because they didn't believe in it. They thought people will always want to store pictures. No, people want to take pictures. They just never want to look at them again. They go, oh my God, I look horrible. No, people just wanted to take pictures. Kodak thought that people wanted to save pictures, hold pictures. No, they just wanted to take pictures. And what do you think will happen to digital cameras? Or what's happened to digital camera? If we drew another S-curve, cell phones. Right? There's always a product, but they always follow that S-curve. And the reason that's really important is because at the bottom is innovation. As it begins to climb, there's growth. When it gets to the top, there's maturity, right, of a product. Here's the magic. You want to be in right above that line because heavy investment begins. And at that line, people are looking for differentiation. So if you're getting into a market like autonomous, electrification, or mobility, the 3 things that OEMs are investing in right now, you better figure out where they are. Because if they're up there, they're looking to cut costs. You don't want to be in that business. That's basically a commoditized product. You want to be here. Because this is where all the spending is going to happen. This is where the business is actually investing. This is where OEMs are hiring vendors and suppliers. This is where technology that causes differentiation, they're looking for that differentiation. Up at the top, that's a sacred cow. That's sort of the product they put out to pasture. They'll just let it have a slow death. So as we said, electrification, autonomy, and mobility. That's where the OEMs are spending their money right now. Not that big of a deal until we get to this. So I just want to use the Apple example because everybody's familiar with Apple. Everybody saw the Steve Jobs movie, so I don't have to explain who Apple is. But here's the thing. How does a company that started out doing this basically turn the phone industry? It's because of this very unique thing right here, is that Apple built a concept. They weren't building products. Apple, or Steve Jobs' vision, was to make computers personal, not to make personal computers. He left that up to IBM and the others. He just wanted to make computers personal. And what is more personal than this particular? It goes to bed with you, to the bathroom. It goes to movies. It goes to the car. This is the most personal computer. They kept evolving because they were constantly trying to make them personal. And that was their concept. And what they did is they took what they do really, really good, which is cool design, leading edge technology, and user experience, and applied it. That was their core. They applied it to a concept. So you take your core, what you're really, really, really good at, and you apply it to a concept, is what I'm trying to say. So you take what you do better than anybody else, and then you apply it to a concept. Whatever that concept that you want it to be. You take your technology and you line it up with a concept that supports your technology. And of course, all that was supposed to do. But then Apple does one more thing, and this is extremely important as well. So we did the first part, how you stay successful. You figure out where the money's going to be spent, you go there. Then you take your core, you build it around the concept. And then the third thing is this, right? User designs have the ability to change the world. So much so that if you look at this slide and then look at this one, is that mouse is what created Windows. If there was no mouse, there'd be no need for Windows, right? We would just type the commands. That wheel on the old iPod is what created iTunes, because it was so successful, is that they needed a place to store music to be sent to that device. And then, of course, that touchscreen is what created iOS and Android, because you needed that ability to be able to stretch and shrink, and you needed an operating system that allowed you to stretch and shrink. So that user device is what led to those three things at the bottom. And then, of course, about reinvention is that someplace between, as the slide was supposed to say, someplace between disruption, which we talked about at the last time meeting, we talked about disruption, and innovation is reinvention, right? If you think about it, many, many years ago, back when I was a child, to start fire, we used to smack rocks together. And later on, someone came up with a match. And after that, it was a lighter. And then it became a stove. But it was still fire. We're recreating the same product. What we're changing was the user experience. You weren't smacking rocks together anymore, you were just flicking a little stick. The user experience is what was changing. Cars are still cars, whether they're electric or gas. They're still cars. They function the same way. You know, so, as Anu said, you know, Uber is like, you know, putting the car business. No, they're not. Unless they're transporting people magically, they're still driving them in cars. So when people talk to me about Uber, I say, what? Uber is just a customer of Ford, GM, and Chrysler. That's all they are, just a customer of Ford, GM, and Chrysler. And they talk about Tesla. Well, Tesla then is disrupting. No, they're building cars. It's just that they sell them over the internet while the OEMs sell them through dealerships. Someone hasn't come along yet to disrupt the car companies. Somebody may. One day somebody will, but they haven't yet. This is real quick, really interesting. Theodore Levitt once said, people don't buy a quarter-inch drill bit, they buy a quarter-inch hole, right? The drill bit is because they want to put a hole. They don't want to own a drill bit, they need a hole. You should focus on the hole, not the drill. What this is really saying in different words, you should focus on the problem, not the solution. The drill is the solution to put a hole. If you can figure out to put a hole in a different way, that's what you should focus on. If a customer needs a hole, how do I give them a hole? What's the best way to give them a hole? Now, what's the best way for me to build a drill? Really is what this is saying. So you identify your core as a company, you abstract idea, and you focus on a problem that really people care about. If you want to stick around and solve a problem they care about, that people are already in need of, right? Uber solved a problem that Jitney solved 115 years ago. They were solving the same problem. So, as far as opportunity, I saw this saying and I thought, oh, it was so cool. You know, that only the smart, only the foolish of mice would hide in a cat's ear. Well, only the wisest of cats would look in their ear for the mouse. It says that there's opportunities everywhere, is the point of this thing. It's just you have to apply. And this is always one of my favorites. I guess it's easier if you get paid a lot of money to say this. Which companies do, pay a lot of money to say. But the point is, do something good, and the money will come. But the point is, do something good, do something positive, and the money will take care of itself. Okay? So is that, I thank you for your time. And thank you.